So that's just the way AI is going to come. AI is going to come to reduce, we change some things, fundamentally some things, but it's supposed to help create a new job and a new market and things like that. So that's where the idea of like don't fear AI, because a lot of people have this fear. If you meet, and everybody I spoke to that time have a fear, it's going to take our job, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, they are taking our data, they are stealing everything. I had this of the application on an Excel sheet, 260 application form to get my first job. One thing I just told myself, I only need one. Yes, just one.
I love that.
I just kept on. So the main problem, like that is difficult, is that people start something and then you face a small challenge and you stop.
And
then you come back. The thing is, if you start, you stop. Most of the time it's really much difficult. It's better for you to even if it's just like going to the gym. If you go to the gym like 20 minutes every day or 20 minutes consistently, it's better than you go to the gym one day a month and then you go 10 hours one day per month.
That's true.
And one most difficult thing is really consistency.
Wow. Honestly, it has always blown my mind that a very high percentage of you who listen to the show haven't yet subscribed. So could I just ask you for a favor before we start? If you like the show and you like what we do at Tech Journey with DeDataDude and you want to support us, the free and simple way to do that is by hitting the subscribe button. My commitment to you is that if you do that, I will do everything in my power along with my team to make sure that this show gets better every single week. We will listen to your feedback and find a guest you want me to speak to and continue to do what we do. Thank you very much. Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Tech Journey with DeDataDude. I'm your host, DeDataDude. You know that this is where we share real stories of tech success and unfiltered journeys behind them. And today, I'm thrilled to welcome a guest whose story truly embodies the global nature of tech industry. From Nigeria to Germany, from healthcare IT to becoming a lead machine learning engineer, and also funding Don't Fear AI. John Roberts has navigated through a fascinating path in the tech landscape. Please, everyone, help me welcome John to the show. John, you're welcome to the show.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your introduction.
Okay, before we dive into your impressive career today, I would love you to, tell us about your childhood in Nigeria. What was young John like, and what were you, thinking about? Like, were there any sign of your future in technology when you were young?
Yeah, so actually, when I was young, I used to like computers because my dad had a computer. But the funny thing about it was I wanted to do like something related to something that is going to be applicable in every area of life. So when I wanted to go to university, I wanted to go for electrical engineering because I felt everything as electricity.
Yeah.
Then the issue was that I noticed I had like about three or four people ahead of me. They did like electrical. Then that was the time that people are doing this networking thing and things like that. So I noticed that all of them that did electrical, they ended up they were doing like network engineering, MTN.
Wow.
So then I told myself, it seems like if all of them are going back to computer, that means there's something really. So that's why I felt like, okay, then if they are going back, then I've just studied computer, and then that's for myself in computer science. So I studied computer science at University of UI.
Wow, that's fascinating. And how you got yourself into tech. So you started your journey at adart, Consulting and Medcod in Nigeria. Can you share some of the struggles and pivotal moments from those early days, that shaped your career?
Yeah, so when I started at adart, so what adart do is that they have, so most in Nigeria, you have this check. So you have this check by a central bank.
Yeah.
So they created a software that processes this check. So when you check, then they pass it through. So we have an hardware and then we have a software. So adart produce the software that this check use. So you have this hardware, you put the check in it, then you can read everything, like more like OCR kind of thing. So then so it's a very small startup. So the guy built everything, and then we go together to banks, like We went to a lot of,
Supermarket says, wow,
so
okay.
we had a lot of banks that were using the product. And then it was like a consulting thing. So it has its software for banks. Then it has software for agri. So in most of it's agricultural, like people selling feed meal and things like that. A lot of like agricultural things. So they need like, so you have this barcode scanner that maybe they sell something, and so they used it in some supermarket, and then some people selling feed meal and stuff like that. So he also had a software for that. Then he had another. So he had like multiple software. So what we just do was that we were building software, like adding new features. But the real big one was the one in the bank, and that was what opened me to the business, because then went to like of most of these banks, and then I started understanding how they do business and how crazy.
Things are done.
That was what got me. So that was where I did my IT, as I said, in Nigeria. That's like internship.
Okay.
After me working with them, till I then changed again to then I moved to Medcod. So Medcod they were doing like software for medical. It's like software for medical. That was what they were trying to do then.
Wow. So this like adart consulting allowed you to, be business oriented.
Exactly.
That's fascinating. And also, moving from Nigeria to Germany is a massive life change. How did that happen? That's for first question in that area.
So the thing was that when I started going to the banks and see what was happening in the bank, I was actually going to like meeting with some of the top people in the banks.
Okay.
And one thing I noticed that most of them, they studied abroad. So from that, then one day, then normally I used to just read about things, and I read a lot about big businesses in Nigeria and big entrepreneurs in Nigeria in the text. Then the text pay was still a bit low because it was very open. And then I noticed that a lot of them did something abroad, like a lot. So I was like, okay, I need to do something abroad. And then to do that, I just applied to. So I had 3 countries in mind, or 3 countries in mind: the US, Canada, and Germany. So I applied to 3 of them, to different schools. I got admission in 3 of them. So I got admission in like US, Canada, and Germany. Then, so I was like, okay, which one should I go? Because then I was a bit confused. I think in US was computer science, in Canada was like robotics or something like that. Then in Germany it was like data. So the issue was that why I then decided to come to Germany, there were a couple of reasons. One of them was because I was working in a private equity company, so it's called Abrad. So Abrad, they like invest in like building hospitals and stuff like that. So I was a consultant to that company. So most of them, they went to Harvard and Stanford. So when I spoke with them, they were business people, complete business people. So what they just told me was that the most important thing to us is going to be data. That's what they just told me. The most important thing is data. Because I was asking them that, how can I, because all of them did MBA and things like that. So I was like, and they were earning in dollars. They were earning like $13,000-$15,000 then. So I was like, how can I become like you guys? And they were like, maybe you need to do like MBA. But since you're computer thing, I think that data is the future and stuff. So I was like, and then I also worked in a company that was, after I left that company, I worked in a company that was doing medical, it's called EMR, electronic medical, electronic medical records, which I think we were part of InterSwitch, which is now part of InterSwitch. So InterSwitch bought the company.
Yeah.
What I noticed was also like this data thing. So I was like, okay, maybe I should just do the data stuff. And then the other thing was that also education in Germany is free. So I was like, okay, in Germany is free. And then this data thing I'm going to do. Then I also like traveling. So I was like, if I was in Europe, I can travel around Europe. And maybe when I'm done my master's, I can decide what to do after my master. If I want to like maybe move to Canada or US again, but I want to just stay in Europe, do the free education, travel around, and then also there are also some big companies in Germany already. So that's why I decided to come to Germany.
Wow. You mentioned something that education is free. I want you to explain that to listeners. We may have people, who are looking for opportunity to also live in Nigeria.
Yeah, so education is free in Germany in the sense that we don't pay tuition fee. So we don't pay tuition fee in Germany.
Wow.
So I had the 3 options. So I just weighed up. So the thing was that, and then so the only thing that is important is, imagine you are going to school, and then there's this thing they call block accounts. So block account is that you put, for instance, you put $12,000 in the bank, What imagine you have a child and you put $10,000 for the child. I tell the child, okay, every day, every month you can withdraw 1,000. So that 12,000 is not going to the school or going to anywhere. It's just a savings for the child so that the child can have something to rely on. So that's the only thing you need. So you only need that money, and that money is actually yours because the money you'll be getting it every month. But you don't get the whole money at once. You get it, they split it for a whole year. So that's the only thing you needed. And then also at the end of the day, actually I got a scholarship, so I still got some money again, even though I had that.
So you got a scholarship after you got to Germany or before?
No. So the thing was, at the beginning, I just had this block account as this money in the bank. So when I go to Germany, then I got a scholarship. Then I got, in my first 2 months, I got an internship. So I got a scholarship. So scholarship, that they just pay you extra money. And then I also got an internship also at Mercedes.
Also pays. Wow. I'm very sure, it may seem easier, as you're saying, but what fears and doubts did you face during this transaction, being in a foreign land?
Okay, so the thing for me was that I came from a background that I know that nothing is impossible. So it's going to be very difficult, but it's not impossible. So it was very tough. Like, before I got my internship, it was like kind of tough. But then I was going for like meetups, like any possible thing. Actually, I got my internship going for one of meetup. I met somebody.
Wow.
Because there was no way I could I was very new in Germany, and then I didn't understand the German language so much, and it was really difficult. But only thing I know was that I was going to keep on building stuff. And if I apply one day, I talk to people, go out, and I see what they're doing. And then that's how I met somebody that was working at Bosch, and I applied for so he said, "Oh, there's an open. Am I interested in self-driving car just starting at Bosch, and if I'm open to that." So I sent my CV, and then he said, "Oh, it seems like I'm fit for the job." Then did the interview, and that's how I got self-driving Bosch. And then later, because the project is with Bosch and Mercedes, or Daimler, so it's like we are doing the same. So just a project that is combining two companies. So I worked a bit at Bosch, and then later I worked a bit at Mercedes, which is called Daimler. So Daimler is the parent company of Mercedes. So Mercedes is under Daimler.
Wow. I'm hearing that for the first time. So basically you utilize power of networking.
Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned an meetup, right? So can you tell people about it, for listeners who don't know your meetup, and how can they use it to benefit?
I was going for conferences. Like, for instance, I've been going for NVIDIA. I went for NVIDIA conference in 2019 at San Francisco. Not from San Francisco, at San Jose. So it's GTC's GPU Technology Conference by NVIDIA in San Jose. I went for NeurIPS. NeurIPS is the biggest machine learning conference in the world. That was in Vancouver, in Canada.
Wow.
So the thing was that then I was seeing people build things, and then I was able to communicate, because I was also doing some couple of things. I was able to and stuff like that. So meeting up is just, first is I started from around my area. Like, they were doing a couple of meetups. Like, there's this thing they call Industry 4.0 then, that just industry, like Industry 4.0 is like smart industry and stuff like that. So I went for that. From there, I saw people presenting something. I was very interested. So they used me to like a couple of other meetups and stuff like that. So I started going for meetups and to see what people are doing, and then to contribute and see what they were doing. So yeah. Wow. So that's how I got into like all things like that and networking with people. And when I was at Stanford, when I started meeting up with people, then I knew that all these guys were not like extremely different from me. Just like normal people, but they were not extremely different. So one day I went to Silicon Valley then, and then I just searched online. There was a conference, whatever, just for alumni from Stanford, only alumni. But what I told myself, if I go there, there was only two things that can happen. I get to the door, somebody asked me, what am I looking for?
Yeah.
I forgot to register or something like that. So, and then when I got there, I just asked them, is there extra space or something like that? Yeah, they said, the guy just looked at me. Of course, he doesn't know everybody that's coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to see what they were doing there. And it's called AI Symposiums. It's at Stanford. And then like Bill Gates was there, all of like all this AI. So it gave me opportunity to just see that things were possible. The only problem I had was that I met some people that were building startups that wanted to offer me jobs, but then I don't have the opportunity to work in the US. So like they told me completely that if you have a green card today, we can offer you the job, but unfortunately we cannot
Wow.
offer a green card.
Wow. You have really networked a lot, and I can say that you love to travel a lot, like you travel a lot. So this is it. I'm very sure there will be one hardest part, that people might never see online. What is it?
Hardest part that people may not see online. So the one thing I think, and I'm beginning to understand now, is consistency. So there was this ideology that I saw recently that it's at a firework, and then so it's just a picture. So I think I posted on my LinkedIn. So you have a picture of a firework and a picture of a candle. So you just have like a firework just shines and spark, and 3 minutes is gone.
Yeah, it's done. Yeah.
You use at home and then it's burning over.
Yeah, several hours.
One thing I noticed, and which is one of the most difficult things, is to be consistently doing something, even though you are not getting the right result at the beginning. My first job, after I freed from Daimler, then after I freed from Mercedes, then that was COVID. So the project in Mercedes, like they reduced this number. Of course, when COVID came at the beginning, they reduced the team and things like that. So I was not able to continue with them. And it took me 250 or 206. I have all the list on I had it of the application on Google on an Excel sheet. 260 applications for me to get my first job.
206
and 60. I have everything. 260. One thing I just told myself, I only need one. Yes, just one.
I love that.
I just kept on. So the main problem, like that is difficult, is that people start something and then you face a small challenge and you stop.
And you stop.
And then you come back. The thing is, if you start if you start, you stop, you start, you stop. Most of the time it's really much difficult. It's better for you to even if it's just like going to the gym. If you go to the gym like 20 minutes every day or 20 minutes consistently, it's better than you go to the gym one day a month and then you go 10 hours one day per month.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, one most difficult thing is really consistency.
Wow.
Like when you are down, when it's difficult, you just keep trying again. And then another thing is, to be honest with you, applying for those jobs and failing is difficult. But you know where you're going. Just like I know that one day I'm going to get it right. So
wow. I definitely love that mindset. No matter the count of rejection, you just need just 1 year. Even despite the fact that you already have the experience,
I was cool with it.
and if you still face a lot of rejection for you to, count 260 that applications before you even got one. Wow. Because a lot of people will, apply for maybe 10 jobs and they receive, 10 no's and be like, okay, they press their first. I know that it's hard, but just the beginning. To me, I do tell people that until you, apply to a job and you receive no, and it didn't even move you, and instead of to move you negatively, you use that as a point of encouragement. Okay, for every no you receive, you apply for 5 more jobs for every no. I be like, until you reach that point, I can say that now you're actually ready for this because it is very competitive.
Yeah, it's even worse now.
And it takes crazy people to win out there. What I mean by crazy people, if you know, okay, you want to do this, you must be crazy that people should be wondering that are you the only one looking for a job? Just the way you were networking and moving around. It happened to me too, it got to a point in the UK that I network like at every networking, event. Like people have seen me like several times be like, okay, that data guy, they were the one that even gave me my brand identity that I now fine-tune to DeDataDude. I'll be okay. That data guy. Be like, from there I met a lot of people. We got connected. Stuff like that happened. As they always say, the definition of luck to me is when opportunity means, like your readiness. You are ready for it. The opportunity means then you can call it luck to me. Oh wow, that is nice. I love you like you sharing that with us. So many immigrants, in tech feel that they are being underestimated or overlooked, despite their talent. Have you experienced this, and how did you affect you personally?
Let me tell you a funny thing. So I got this job at Bosch, like this Mercedes and Bosch kind of thing. I thought.
Yeah.
And for me, naturally, I come to the office early. I like going to the office early. So I didn't know that the people that come early are the cleaners. So and this is my first day of the this is my maybe my no they give so the first day I came the normal time. They gave me everything I need to do. But then the problem is I didn't get the key. So there's this card you need to get
To scan, yeah.
down to the office. So they told me that it would take maybe 1 week for me to get the card. But the thing is that I can come to the office, that they will have my name at the reception. I can come to the office, and then they will always give me a card I can use for the
You
whole day.
see.
So now this was like maybe I don't know third or second day. So I came early because I just like come early. I think I came around 6 or something like that.
6 a.m. and you
Yeah.
have to resume when?
So for me, I don't look at the time I resume. I just come. So I came 6 o'clock, and then the person at reception, I asked the person for a card. Then the person gave me the card for cleaners. And then
Wow.
I told the person that no, because the card is different. So the card is different. I told the person that no, that I need the card that I can. And the person looked at me.
Get you.
Then I had to tell the person my name, and the person need to check, confirm that. So that was one. That was the first thing. Also, when I
Why?
need to collect my hardware, I had to collect my hardware because if you are in that project, if you are a particular type of developer, you need 2 laptops because you need the GPU, the one that they use for
Yeah.
and a couple like that, and then you have the normal one. So not everybody gets 2 laptops. So when I went to get it, and I told the guy I need two, the guy looked at me
Look at you like, who are you?
like like no or something. So I had to go and call one of my colleagues. No, then he said, "What's my name?" Then I showed him that because all the people that need 2 laptops, the names are
Yeah.
written. And I pointed him that that's my name. Since that day, anytime I go to that place, that guy is always yeah. So you're going to adapt to what, but for me, those things didn't really matter because I know that anywhere in the world, if you are not born in that place, there will be some that you are different somehow.
Yes.
Hard to say, but that's just the reality of things. Like even if you pick even in Nigeria, for instance, if you are a Hausa person and you are in Ibadan, Europe, Ibadan, for instance, you cannot become what they call Oni of sorry, or you are in Ife, you become Oni of Ife. So there are a couple of things that will just be
Yeah.
like, and then unfortunately, that's just the way life. I'm not saying that's the right way life should be, but it's just that sometimes you may need to do a bit extra. And another problem again we have is perception because when you see a group of people doing a particular thing, you categorize everybody in that group.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for instance, if you pick Nigeria, for instance, an average Hausa person is selling suya, right? It's difficult for you to see an Igbo guy selling suya, for instance, right? Yeah, so it's perception of things. So that's the way it's. So it takes time for some of them to see that you have the capability and things like that. So because sometimes they are not used to those kind of things, and most of the time when they have one or two people can do that. For instance, another problem was so I started also investing in real estate. I felt if that was even worse because I went to a place where to buy a house, and the guy looked at me and told me they're not renting this house. I said I know that I didn't come for rent, and then he told me he said they're not renting this house, and then not for people with government support.
Wow.
I told him that I mean I didn't I
Like you
know.
want to buy.
Then I gave him a document from the bank to show that I am qualified, like I'm qualified to get mortgage for that amount, or I'm qualified to buy something
Even
above this amount. That was when the guy
why?
was serious. So it's
Wow, wow, wow. It's different for as it's a journey, and what you went through and what you're going through now. These are the things that makes your own journey unique. And the same, issue, stuff like that, people are also going through, them, but in a different scenario. You understand? And I love that you share that. Okay, let's move to your company starting Don't Fear AI takes courage and conviction. Yeah.
So the idea of Don't Fear AI. So normally I used to just build like demos and stuff like that. But the idea of Don't Fear AI came from, so one thing so as a foreigner in a country, there are some things that are very important to you, which most people don't talk about, especially when we're talking about career. Your immigration status is a career on its own. That no matter how good you are, if you have problems with your immigration, which is what I experienced when I went to California, when I went to Silicon Valley, he gave me a job and he just told me because of my immigration status, I cannot get a job. So I knew that, and that was why when I came back that time, I told myself, I know that this immigration status is going to mess me up, no matter how good I am. If something goes wrong in my career, then that immigration status is going to be a big problem. One thing I focused on then because after COVID, I just focused on like learning German, getting all the required stuff to get my citizenship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So get all those one prepared, and then I now went back again to going for conferences. So before I used to go for conference, like before COVID, I was going for conferences. So now I went back to going for conferences and then applying for a lot of conferences. And again, I was always sure that okay, I'll get a lot of rejection and stuff like that. I was getting some rejection, but I think I got about 4 or 5 conferences. So one of the conference was data native. So one of the conference was they call it a fire chat. So we are like 3 people. I was among them, and then they were discussing about state of AI in Europe. Some of them were some of the people there, they were talking about AI responsibility, AI trust, and then some people there were people that wrote this EU AI Act. So
wow. Some of them were there.
Yeah. So then one thing I noticed was that they were just talking about everything, why they were taking their data, why AI is bad, why some people feel AI is going to take and kill everybody in the world. And then so that was what brought me up that man, it's not this bad. Like it's not so like so I saw the fear that everybody had against AI. It's going to take your jobs. So everybody was just saying things about every wrong thing that you can imagine about AI. So I was like, okay. And in the conference, I was one of the few people, like everybody even knew me because I was one of the few people that said, it's supposed to help you. Like your computer came, help you. Electricity came, help you. Internet came, help you. It will change some jobs. Yeah, true. Like I used to give a very good example is if you, like I live in Hamburg where you have the ports in Hamburg. Before now, humans carried some of this, when transporting goods. But now you have cranes. So cranes came and replaced humans in those.
Yes.
So, and people
questioning,
didn't question it. There are a lot of things where you need, you have like, washing machine is there now. Maybe if you have a restaurant before, you need to employ, I don't know, 20
people,
workers. Now you only need like 5 people to wash it. So I said that's exactly what AI is going to come will do. What AI will do is that before, when you want to send a message, you send messages in like postbox, and maybe you have more people sending by paper. Like remember they said write letter.
Send.
You have a lot of people that maybe doing the sending. So some people will lose their job because nobody's sending paper like before. And now you have to message. So that's just the way AI is going to come. AI is going to come to reduce. We change some things, fundamentally some things, but it's supposed to help create a new job and a new market and things like that. So that's where the idea of like don't fear AI. So I was like, okay, what can I do? Okay, I thought like I can still start like a newsletter on a platform like Don't Fear AI, and I start sharing some of the limitations and some of the benefits of AI stuff, and then also it helps me like building things. If I build something, I can also share there's just something like that. So that was where the idea, because a lot of people have this fear. If you meet, and everybody I spoke to that time have a fear, it's going to take our job, it's going to do this, it's going to do that, they are taking our data, they are stealing everything.
So now how do you feel like people perception about AI now? You have been talking to a lot of people. What do you think about their perception about it now?
So I feel like people are tired now. Like people just see a lot of things, AI things, and people don't know what is going to happen. People are like tired. They don't know what is going to happen in the future. They are not sure. So many people still fear it. They fear like it's going to take their jobs. fear. And again, already we are seeing that in the tech industry, that the number of like a lot of
People
companies hire as much as
relatives, yeah.
they are reducing things like that. Then a lot of people, maybe call centers, customer care, you are seeing some kind of changes in that.
Yeah.
A lot of like, we already can see that it's affecting some jobs, which is true, that's going to do that. So people perceive, but there's also a perception that this thing can control a lot of it will control your computer and then see whatever. I don't think a lot of the people's perception has not really changed because they don't know what to expect, right? They just don't know what to expect. But to me, I feel it's something that is still going to be controllable. So it's not something out of control, because the fear is that this thing is too intelligent and then it will control everything in the world. But at the end of the day, there is still a software behind this thing. There's still like a couple of things that you can control.
Yeah. If we start talking about AI topic today, in the next 3 months, 4 months, we are still talking about, because it is very wide. And one thing that we cannot change anymore is that it is here.
Exactly.
You understand? So we just need to find a way to adapt to it, adopt it, be innovative with it. But the funniest thing, even till now, I'm an AI person too. We don't know how LLM do what it does. Sure, hope you know.
So the thing about what LLM do is still same. So it's transformer, just predicting the next word.
But do you know how it predicts everything? The main work at we all know that, okay, we have the data, they train the data with the model and everything. But still, how it did the prediction, how it did everything. This is far more than just machine learning. Understand?
So I don't think I would Gabriel say it's not far more than machine learning. It's still the same thing we have been doing before. The only thing we did was we have more data and more compute. That's just the thing. It's still the same transformer model. The only thing is that it's just like still predicting the next word. It's just at the end of the day, what we are still doing, we are still predicting the next word. And that's why most time in AI, what people are thinking of is how can we do it differently? Because we are still using the same process of predicting the next word. Yeah, you may not be able to understand exactly how we predict the next word, which is like the black box in between. But then,
yeah, you just mentioned that
see
area,
a lot of
black box.
Yeah, you may not be able to really can predict everything that it can predict. I know there could be some. So now they're trying to do like transparency, responsibility, and stuff like that. There's another problem that people say, oh, if you have AI, then you have these deep fakes and things like that. When we have the internet, there were people that were stealing through the internet too. Like if you don't have the internet, maybe nobody can go to your account and steal.
Yeah.
If you don't have mobile phone, maybe nobody can do some couple of things because you have the mobile phone. So there's going to be some security thing, which I think one of the conferences, what I spoke about was AI security. So challenges of AI security. Yeah, there's that part of it. But then anything that you have as an advantage and has disadvantages, right? So the only thing that we know to do is to optimize for the advantage and try to create things to avoid the disadvantage.
Yeah. And I think, like, I support what you said. And I think what people should do is like, because what people are afraid because they don't have knowledge about it.
Exactly.
So once you acquire knowledge about AI and you know how it works, then you can also control it. That's why, like, I don't see that AI will replace people's job. I just see it this way. Okay, people that know how to operate AI will take people's job, because this is the era now. If you have the skill of maybe prompt engineering, or any AI skills, you tend to be more productive in your job than someone that doesn't even have idea, that doesn't even use AI at all. So the outcome of you guys will be so different.
Exactly.
That's what I do tell people, as we have data literacy, let's have AI literacy too. So that, and I just hope that people will continue to use AI ethically, because that's another topic, that is trending, ethical.
I mean, the problem with ethical is internet. Internet is a good example. Internet, you have fraudsters on the internet.
Yeah.
So you cannot say because you have fraudsters on the internet, people stop using internet. The only thing you can do is you need to provide or create things to detect these fraudsters, or to create some walls to detect all these fraudsters. So that's the same thing. Humans are naturally built to do evil things sometimes. So you have to control them. You have to create a control. We cannot tell them not to do evil things. You have to create a control or create some ways that we help people to know that this is fraud or this is evil. So that's just something that we can do. But thinking that you just tell people don't use this
No,
thing,
no, 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 no.
they are not going to.
It's yeah, it's won't. It's won't. And the funniest thing is that what is happening now has been, recorded before in movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah,
what. That's just one thing about lives. What is happening now? People have watched. We have watched like a lot of AI movies even before AI, became more trending and everything. What will happen in the next 10 years or 30 or 20 years? People already know.
yeah,
I have an idea. If you can, just the way AI, like machine learning was, we training based on, historical data so that I can use that knowledge to predict, new data sets. That's how like me I'm thinking. I'm thinking just like exactly like AI because they make human brain, to AI so that I can work like that. They were able to produce some movies that predicted what we have here. And now they are producing some movies that are predicting what will happen. Funniest thing is that we will still be living in Mars. Trust me, because what Elon is doing, the guy will actually achieve it, and to make it easier for people to go and come to Mars as if they are going to or they are taking flights from UK to Canada. That was what the world will be, and also there will be a lot of flying cars and like the way it is. What's the name of this movie? Atlas, Transformers, and so on. We will having like it will be very rare to even see a road car. Everyone just have to be flying up and down. But before then, let's just tackle what we have on ground. And another thing that I love to share with people is that if you are looking to like into maybe a tech career that you want to move into, three or like four that I do share with people: data, AI, engineering, and cybersecurity. Because everything is still dependent on data, and if you have data, you need security.
yeah. Yeah. To be honest, so any of these. So yeah, these are again. I don't think there are not so many other things apart from that. So you have just the software building, the software of mobile apps, and then you have security, cyber security of that. I think one thing that people don't talk about, which was what I was saying at the conference, is there's AI security. Like people talk about the cyber security of things, but then you also need to think about the security of protecting or building secured AI system because there could be like some jailbreaks or things like that, or
Yeah,
but they also need to have this possibility of like building like secured AI systems. So that's another thing I feel like. Yeah, but when it comes to career, I think so. I was discussing this with a friend. Career is going to move maybe from just because you have AI that can help you do a lot of things. So the expertise you may need a bit more wider range of expertise because AI can do a couple of things. So you need
yeah,
to be able to know how to really use it and then do better things with it. So it's going to change because I know a lot of companies will not. There's this thing they call that they now have in Silicon Valley. They call it tiny companies. So tiny companies is just that. So if you have something like Cursor, right? Cursor, I
yeah.
think it's not maybe I don't know 50 employees, and then they have generated like over
Hmm.
a billion. So the idea now
Fund.
is you don't need to build a very
Yeah.
lot of
You don't need to
employees.
be an employer, like empire for you to have that fund.
Yeah, for you to make those that revenue. So
Wow.
that's the thing. But career wise, I feel like things are going to change a lot
A
because
lot,
also
yeah.
we have this new wave of content creation again. That's another part
Yeah.
that is booming, and then we don't. It's a bit confusing for someone to know, like, yeah. But I think it's going to be if you want to be a developer now, if you're starting to be a developer now, you need to do a lot more. Like you need to like build complete projects because now it's yeah things you can use a lot of tools to do a lot of things. So you need to be able to use these tools to be able to build those things and then
Yeah.
put something together. I think that's going to be very important.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, we often see people's successes, not their failures. Could you share a significant failure or rejection in your life and how it's changed you?
I think I shared one of my failures, which is like just applying a lot. I think these days I don't see a lot of failures as failure. I see it as like a learning phase. So
Hmm.
one of the application thing is the thing is first is one of the like applying for a lot of jobs before getting one was one thing. Applying for a lot of conferences before getting one is one thing. So for me, it's like I have applied a lot, failed a lot, and I have this saying. Like I said, I don't care how long I fail. I just when I want them.
Yeah.
And because there's one thing that is very important is everybody. Another thing maybe one thing that is very important to say is everything takes time. Because I noticed that, like, someone called me yesterday or 2 days ago about, I want to get into AI stuff. I'm like, okay, yeah, you need to learn Python. And the guy was like, okay. It was like, yeah, you just want to start building something. I said,
it's not done that way.
you don't know Python, you don't know anything, you just want to start building. I said, it's like somebody tell you, oh, you want to learn French. I said, no, I want to just start writing books in French. You cannot start writing books in French from the first day. You need some time to first learn the basic of A, B, C, D, E, F in French. That how to create words together, how to create sentences and things like that. And these things takes time. Everybody you have seen, this is the illusion we have a lot these days, especially on social media. You just see somebody post something. You never know how long these guys have been
working. Yeah.
Another person you see, they've done a lot of things over time. Any industry, they've done those things. They didn't come of course, overnight, because you only see the day that they made something, but they did it over time. So that's one thing I feel like a lot of people don't know. So you want to get into AI now, or want to get into tech or whatever, and then you just come. Even content creation, people build things over time. So one thing I think I'm beginning to learn that if you want to get anything new, two things you need to know is one, if you're starting anything new, you do it bad the first time. Like the first, you will do it very bad. Don't try to make it perfect at the beginning. Just try to do it. That's the first thing. So just try to do it. Second thing is that know that it will take a lot of trials. So it's not that you do it once and it will make sense. So just know that I'm going to do it, and every time I'm doing the second time or doing it again, to do it better than I've done it before. So that's the thing. So in that mindset, the first time you do it, even if you fail, your idea is not that I failed. My idea is that, I did it now, I didn't do it well, and next time I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to do it better. And then you do it again and then again and again until over time you get to a point where you would have done it better over time, and then now it's good, better than the way it was the first time.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons I started this. As you said, if someone posted something online and this is something good, the person have sacrificed a lot, maybe had a lot of sleepless nights and continuous learning over. For example, you can't just become an AI engineer within a year. It takes a lot of experiences in, even from data analytics, to Python, to data science, machine learning, deep learning, computer vision, natural language processing, prompt engineering, AI engineering itself. So it takes a lot, but people don't get it sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I also don't want to put a timeline to it, because the thing is, like, we all learn at different pace and we all have different. Because I'm saying this because some people are learning German. I know a couple of people that are learning German. I know a couple of people that are learning tech. Now the thing is, if you see somebody can do it in 2 months. Now the guy that did it in 2 months could have been doing it 10 hours every day. If you come and do 2 hours every day, you may need 2 years.
Yes, yeah, sure.
If he comes and he does it 2 months, and you just feel like because that guy did it 2 months, then you think you can do it 2 months. You need to know. And that 2 months, if he's putting 10 hours every day for 2 months, it's not going to work. Not doing anything. He doesn't have a family. It's not thinking of maybe immigration. Because sometimes you see some. So I have some friends, like some people that maybe they are not thinking about immigration. Or their brain is not thinking about, they have maybe a safety net where if they don't work for the next 3 months, they still get money, they still pay their rent. You don't have that. So you cannot put in the same amount of time. Or if you have a child now, maybe you cannot put in the same amount of time. So and sometimes also some people also have some backgrounds. Maybe there's something that people call unfair advantage, where you have like everybody can talk about maybe Bill Gates or something. Bill Gates' mother was working as connection at IBM, where he was doing something and can use that leverage. You don't have a parent, you don't have that kind of leverage. Also some of these guys in Nigeria, like I think Iji and a couple of them like that. Some of them
Yeah.
have some leverages that
That
you don't. I'm not
yeah.
saying you cannot become them, but the thing is that you need to know that maybe you need to work harder than they did
Hmm.
because you have those leverages. So if you see somebody do it 2 months, it's good. If you want to do it 2 months, you may need to work harder than the person, maybe because you don't have that leverage. You don't have some things that he had. Maybe he
Hmm.
has a brother that is money pushing him, or you have a brother that paid all his school fees or something like that. Yes. But the
Hmm.
thing is, the only difference is if you keep doing the thing and putting time into it, there's a way that life will give it to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let me ask you this question. Are you living your tech dream life?
I'm not.
What are you trying? Oh, no.
So I mean, I'm not living my tech dream life because I think since I went to Stanford that day,
Hmm.
and I sat near one guy. The guy is, I mean, I sat near one guy, and then these guys, they were saying some things on the stage, but then we were just sitting like together. And then the guy, I don't know. So we were just discussing, they were just talking about some concept or something like that, because then that was the first this AI symposium by Fefeli. So
Okay.
Fefeli was saying something. And then the guy said something, and then I was asking the guy,
Gotcha.
and they were arguing, not we're just talking, saying our own opinion. And then somebody came to him and said, "Are you speaking today?" And the guy said, "No, he's not speaking today." Then I said, "Oh, I mean," and I checked his name. The guy is a bit older. Then I checked his name and I saw his network 1 point something billion.
Wow.
That's what I knew. It's like it's some of these investors in like Facebook at the early stage of Facebook and
Wow.
stuff. But it was very like plain normal person and stuff like that. Like very normal. So seeing that, I noticed that, and then also seeing other, like if you go all this some of these conferences, you just see the same people that you see that look like God when you see them online. You just see them normally. So the dream was different in the sense that I felt like is when you build something that has an impact, like people, it impacts people somehow. And then if you're talking about money too, yeah, money can come with it. But first thing is
Hmm.
like you build something that have impact that a lot of people use, for instance. And then also like in the part, like going to work every day and just like that without having any. So that's not, it's not my tech, it's not my dream life to just earn, I don't know how much, just every month like that. I feel like building something that can also generate its own income, or building something that also impact people, and like, yeah, because I don't think I have enough money to take care of the family.
Come on. Come on. Are you not married yet?
I'm not married yet. I'm not
Hey,
married yet.
why? Why?
But I think like I don't know what people's dream
Yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
My dream is a point where I have a way of generating, if it's in tech now, something that generates enough revenue that I
Yeah.
can live my basic life, for instance, like my basic life. I don't think I have gone to that point. Yeah, maybe when you look at the average person, I may not be too average, but also I think because the future is a lot of, I've seen people go up and come down, right? So I feel like building something that I don't know what people's dream are. Maybe if they buy a Range Rover, they are good. But I think for me, and then I like this guy. It's not in tech, but his name is, I mean, it's Diary of CEO Steve. I'm not sure if you know the
I know
Diary of, yeah,
Steve on
yeah,
Stravet.
no, Steve Bartlett.
See, okay, yeah, yeah. I know him. I still watch one of his episodes with Mr.
Yeah, the one. Okay, he did one with Mr. Beast. That guy is one. So I used to listen to Master of Scale. So I don't know if you know Master of Scale by the owner of LinkedIn. So if you see most of the time, like he said something like increasingly successful. So it's not you're successful, like which is what happened mostly in Nigeria, that someone is successful and then it dies with the success. But increasingly success is that you build something, I keep improving it. You keep improving. Yeah, it's successful, but you keep improving it to get better. So it's not that you just
Hmm.
build something and it's successful and then you're done with it. So that's what I feel. That's the way I think about success
Well,
and
well,
tech.
Okay. Looking back to at your journey from Nigeria to where you are now, what will you tell your younger self during the moment of greatest doubt?
During my moment of greatest doubt, God like tell myself that tough times don't last. I tell
Hmm.
myself
Hmm.
like tough
Tough
times don't,
time don't last.
and it's more like I also tell myself that it's a season. It's like the way
Hmm. Hmm.
there's winter, there's summer.
Yeah.
Life, winter, and summer. So you don't say because it's like try to. It's tough sometimes, but try to just see how you can keep pushing. So it's
Hmm.
tough, especially as a foreigner. It's sometimes very tough. Like things are
Hmm.
really complex, but just know that if you keep putting your effort,
Hmm.
trying things, it's going to get better. Yeah, it's going to get better.
Wow. Wow.
And again, another what I used to tell my younger brother is imagine a plane when a plane's at the airport
Yeah.
and it's going, it wants to take off. At the time it's leaving the airport, it needs a lot of power, a lot of effort, a lot of
Yeah.
energy for it to take up and go up. But
Hmm.
once gets up, can everybody can they that and when you're down, they say tighten your seatbelt, all those kind of
Yeah.
things. When you get up, then you can lose your seatbelt. You can when you get to a stage, some stages, you can lose your seatbelt and enjoy life a bit. But there are sometimes there's turbulent again. You need to
Yeah.
like
That's a brace.
but
Wow.
just know that the most difficult part is that
Yeah. To take off.
that the takeoff is the most.
Yeah.
But once you take off, you can take off to an because for instance, most of this like maybe when you see some people's career, they once you get some level, there's some couple of comfort you can have, especially if you
Hmm.
get to some altitude in any career. There's a couple of comfort you can have where maybe there will just be some bit of turbulence and stuff like that. So that's what I tell myself. I'll tell myself, put in that effort, take off every energy, put it. Once you just know that you get to some optimum, some level where you can relax a bit.
Wow. I love that scenario and that principle. It takes a lot of power to fire up. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it takes a lot of sacrifice because the moment that a plane wants to take off, it's consuming a lot of power. It's consuming a lot of energy. So like that, and the same principle applies to people. That point of achievement, that's the point that is most hard.
yeah, exactly.
And in most people's stories, that was even the point that they almost gave up.
Yeah.
But because they just feel okay, let me do it again, and it worked. Wow, I really love that scenario. Thank you so much. What an incredible conversation with you, John.
Thanks, man.
I want to thank you so much for for your openness and how you shared your journey with us today. Your journey from Nigeria to Germany, you know,
I'm all,
navigating the cultural transitions and building, you know, impactful solutions. Yeah, especially don't fear AI because I've seen a lot of your content.
yeah. Now I'm trying more product now. I mean, now I just want to because I think the next phase, which I think a lot of people don't talk about in tech, is the fact that a lot of people do demos, but most people don't put it in production.
Hmm.
From demo to production is 1 to 100. It's 1 and 100. Like now I'm trying to push some things to production and you need to think about a lot of things. What kind of and then also another problem is putting it to production requires some costs, which is that's the
Yeah.
requires some cost. But that's when the value of what you build, you get more value for what you build
Hmm.
because people can use it and then you can get feedback and even yeah. So that's the thing. But thank you
Wow.
so much. I really
Wow.
enjoyed. Yeah, I'm
Wow.
happy to hear your story. Also, I see what you're doing, and yeah, I'm happy to be there.
Yeah, thank you very much. And to our listeners who want to connect with you, who want to follow your journey, where can they,
Yeah, I
connect
think
with you?
so. My LinkedIn is John Roberts, and then my Instagram I post a couple of tech things, but a lot of more of travels. But I post a couple of tech
Okay.
at at Troj Robert TROJ Robert. So it's like
Um,
Trojan virus, but
yeah.
I'm trying to still put a lot of things. But these days I do like LinkedIn, I do a bit of Instagram, then I'm going to do a bit of Twitter. And those are the platforms. And don't fair AI, I just want to use it to share some of the things.
Wow. Thank you. And to all our listeners, please connect with John. in across all the social platforms that he mentioned. Trust me, you will learn a lot from him, especially from his LinkedIn page. Just follow him. Follow Don't Fear AI. You will see a lot of insightful content about AI and how you can innovatively use AI even to your own day-to-day activities. And also, if you have demos, or even if you have an idea, you can also share with him, to build impactful solutions together, because I believe in collaboration. And also remember that what you are going through right now, people have been there, and it's not the final destination. It's just a phase. For me, I've been a tech professional who happened to be washing plates, washing dishes, but yeah, we are today still trying to put out more impact and still do something, to like for our generation. And if John's story and journey has, inspired you, please don't forget to put it, what you learned, in the story in the comments, and also share this episode with people who needs to hear it, because people feel more inspired and motivated when they see people like them, achieving what they are thinking that is not achievable, even in the foreign country. But people like them are actually achieving it. Trust me, you can also do it. Me, I can also do it too. And Cho, is also doing his own. But together we can do better. Thank you very much. And till next week, to bring another inspiring episode to you. Before then, please don't forget to keep living, keep learning, keep growing. And also, the last point, don't forget to like and hit that subscribe button. I'm your host for today, DeDataDude, and our amazing guest is John Robert. Thank you very much. Peace out.